Hello firm, hope you good. Welcome back once again. This is James the Decomposer and the synthesizer of math and science what? Tutor. Yes my faith, yes my faith, yes my faith. So today I want us to focus on what we call the cubic function. The cubic function, you'll find it in calculus. So those who are doing calculus basically in high school and those ones that are studying it in varsity, you guys must be familiar with what we call the cubic function. So what is a cubic function first of all? A cubic function is a function that has the degree or the exponent or the index of 3. While we know that a quadratic equation or a quadratic function is the one that is given by the form of y equals to m. Okay, let me start right there before I confuse you guys. So we basically have y equals to mx plus c. This is what we call the linear function. Right, then we also have what we call y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c, which is this one is known as a what? A quadratic function. So I hope you can see the difference. The difference is that the exponent here is 1, that's why it's linear. Or this is what they call it a straight line function. This one you call it a quadratic function, which is the one that gives us a parabolic graph. The graph that looks like this. It shows a front face or the face that looks sad, or the face that looks happy. It's a smiling graph, So whenever you see these two graphs, you know that, oh, I'm dealing with quadratic function because it gives me a parabolic graph. So now we are integrating. We are going from one level to another. You know what I mean? It's like when Melody steps from ground floor, you're going to first floor, now you're going to second floor. Your bonus. That is also how these functions are. So now we're going to the cubic. The cubic is the one that deals with what? Ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. This is the equation of a cubic function. I want you guys to understand what a cubic function is. A cubic function is a function that has the degree of the exponent or the what? Or the index of what? Of 3. So you can see that the exponent is 3. So it's a cubic function. Now, when you're dealing with a cubic function, since it's cubic means to the power 3, you must know that the x values that we are supposed to get are supposed to be 3. We need how many x-intercept? 3 x-intercept. So if you find yourself you got 2, you know what I mean? Yeah. If ever they are all the same, the x-intercept, it means that they are the same as the turning point at some point. Like if 2 or 1, it's possible, but we'll come across that as time goes on. Okay. So I just want you guys to keep this in mind. This is what you call a quadratic function, linear function, a cubic function. Okay. Right. I'm gonna erase this portion. Okay, fine. I want you guys to know that the value of a only tells us whether the function is increasing or decreasing. All right? That is the value of a. Now, the d is the y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? Do you know that when you find the y-intercept, they say the y-intercept, you let what? You let x to be 0. Basically, what does it mean? It means that when the graph cuts the y-axis, we're going to have the intercept. That intercept that we're going to have, we're going to call it the what? The y-intercept. So the y-intercept is when a line cuts the y-axis, which is the vertical line. So if this is my Cartesian plane, and we have a certain line that can come, and then it cuts there. You see? It cuts here. So this is the y, this is the x. So the line that cuts the y-axis there, it forms the intercept known as the y-intercept because that is where the x is 0. And whenever the x is 0, we have the what? The y-intercept. Whenever the y-intercept, whenever the y value is 0, what do we have? The x-intercept. Keep that in mind. Okay, now guys, let's try to see how the cubic function works. Okay. So, what is my goal today, Bafit? My goal is to basically show you how to solve a cubic function, how to solve and how to factorize the cubic function. There are 2 ways, or there could be 3, 2 or 3, yeah. But I would like to use this one, which I feel like it's very nice. You can use, There's also a long division method, which a lot of people I know at different schools that are being taught that method, And there's also a factor theorem, which you can use, which is the one that I love to use. Actually, is the one that I'm going to use today with you guys. You know what I mean? But if you'd like me to actually make a long division one for you, just comment Bafetu, all right? Comment Bafetu. Please don't forget to subscribe Bafetu as well. Don't forget to share this video Bafetu with those who are in need of it Bafetu. Exams are around the corner for those that will be writing. So hopefully some are going to be able to see this video, be like, oh, this is how they solve, this is how we factorize, this is how we sketch the graph. Then they are good to go Bafetu, all right? Let's get this Bafetu. And lastly, put a thumb, Bafetu. As long as you like the videos Bafetu. If you don't like it, away Bafetu. Alright. So I mentioned that the value of A dash it tells us about whether the graph is increasing or decreasing. So how about I do this now? Let me just say this is the Cartesian plane, this is my y and my x-axis. Right? A Cartesian plane must always have the y and the x-axis. You know what I mean? If it doesn't have this in a sketch graph, I don't know what it is, Bafetu, because the graph must lie on a Cartesian plane, and the Cartesian plane must have the x-axis and the what? The y-axis. The vertical line is the y-axis for those that are in lower grades, lower levels, and then the x-axis is the horizontal line. But there used to be a challenge on TikTok people used to do. And people don't really think that, or they don't actually see that, that it's actually the translation of the graph. Do you know that when the graph is being translated, it can be translated up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. So they don't know that, Bafetu, now you're seeing it, right? Those who are seeing it will see it. Okay, let's continue with it. Okay, fine. If the graph is like this, start like this. If the graph is like this, you see, it's a what? It's a decreasing, increasing function. This one, basically, is an increasing, decreasing function. This one. If it starts like this, it is smile, born. Remember from quadratic Bafetu. If the value of a is greater than 0, the graph will look like this, will smile. If the value of a is less than 0, meaning it's negative, it's going to look like this. It becomes sad. So this is the first part. It's increasing. It's increasing, then it decrease. So we call it an increasing, decreasing function. This was when the a is less than 0, meaning that the a is negative. That is how the graph, if you see a graph is like this, you must know that, oh, my graph is negative. My graph is decreasing. Then they will ask you, find the values of x where the graph is what? Decreasing or increasing. They are there. You know what I mean? We'll do them as time goes on, Bafetu. Lena, make sure that you ask as many questions. You watch this. You share these videos. You see? Siyahamba bonke. Siyahamba sonke Bafetu. Yeah. Okay. Now let's see. If ever I want to show the graph that is an increasing graph, how can I do it? So I can do this one, and I can say, you must look sad, then you must increase. Oh, lovely. Can you see the difference? We have a concave down, then concave up. Concave up, concave down. Up, down. Down, up. You see, so we are having a concave down, concave up. Concave up, concave down. Concave down, concave up. Concave up, concave down. That is the two types of graphs that you are going to, that you must actually expect in cubic functions. You know what I mean? Because whenever you start with the concave down and then you have concave up, it shows that this graph was decreasing, then is increasing. So we call it a decreasing, increasing function. This one is an increasing function basically, because equatili. Then here, you're smiling. You understand? More, you're about smile. And then more, you have to feel it about quad. It's a moody graph. Be careful when you're dealing with the cubic function. I'm sorry to say this, but if we were to compare a man and a lady, basically you'd know that, hey, yazi wathi abafazi ne, hey, they are a bit moody compared to men, man. Hi, okay, about get the temperature, about hot and cold. You know, but no change out of a sudden. Get the cubic functions, follow same time. Remember quadratic. But I know at some point we can be a little bit of that, but women tend to be more cubic than us. Huh? So if you see a wasadi kurungu hepinyana jigi jigi, baby, stop being a cubic. Can't you just be a quadratic for once? Or just tell your friend that. That is how we see people in maths. I'm just saying. Okay, let's continue, my friend. Okay. So basically, let's just say you want to solve for x. All right. So what do? We let we let what? We let y to be equals to 0. Remember dealing with what? Before that, maybe some people don't know how to find the y-intercept. Okay, y-intercept. We let x to be equals to 0. So meaning where I see x on my function, I'm going to put what? The value of x. So allow me to say f of 0 equals to 0 cubed minus 2 into 0 squared minus 4 into what? What is this? 0 plus 8. And then from there you can see that everything when you multiply by 0 gives you 0. So my final answer is going to be what? 8. That is what? My values of the y-intercept is 0 and 8. That's why I mentioned to you that this one is the form of ax squared plus bx plus cx plus d. Do you see that d is the y-intercept indeed? Indeed is 8. Now check, a is either positive or negative, telling us whether the graph will be increasing or what? Decreasing. So you see that it's positive here. The value of a here, to those who don't know, there is 1. 1 times anything is anything. Hence, 1 times James is James. 1 times x is x. So there is a 1 here. But if it was 2, we know that, the coefficient of x is 2. The coefficient of x cubed is 2. The coefficient of x squared minus 2. The coefficient of x minus 4. Guys, those who are doing lower grades, grade 8 and 9, there is a polynomial. They are dealing with polynomials expressions where they will be asking you, what is the coefficient? What is the constant? A constant is a number without any variable, without any letter. Like 8 is a constant. You get what I'm saying, Mafetu? Thank you. Now let's continue and see how we can actually solve the x-intercept. Okay. So now, for x-intercept, we let y to be equals to 0. Okay, so I'm gonna say x cubed minus 2x. Let me erase and write nicely. X cubed minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 8 equals to 0. So what I've done there, guys, basically is that where I see f of x, which is the same, remember, f of x is the same as y. G of x is the same as y. H of x is the same as y. K of... So don't be like, when they say determine the new function, what if if f of x is reflected or is translated or is shifted, but determine the h of x. What does h is the same as y? It's basically finding a new function. So we use these things to denote. We use these symbols to denote a function. Right? So let's continue, Bafetu. Now, to solve this, we have, as I've said, we have different methods. I'm gonna use what you call the factor theorem. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you guys the values. We have x equals to -1, -2, -3, -6. Again, or the values can be x equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. No, not 4. +6. So 1, 2. They're always 4 values. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So guys, keep this in mind. Make sure that you have a calculator next to you. So what I would like you to do is to take all of the values of negative. Let's start with the negative values here. So we have -1, -2, -3, -6. We have 1, 2, 3, 6. So what you must do, you must actually take one of the values here, from -1, you plug it here. If you plug -1 where you see x, it gives you 0, it's a factor. But if it doesn't give you, you continue, go to the next number, and then you will see the one that gives you 0 is a factor. Then you are done with the first step. Then you can go to the second step. Are we together? Okay, fine. All of these values are negative. If you plug all of these values that are negative here and they don't give you 0, you come and check one of the values here must give you 0. If it gives you, it's a factor. So let me show you guys. If I plug -2 here, it's gonna be a factor. So meaning I'm gonna say x plus 2 is a factor. Do you know why I say x plus 2? Because x plus 2 equals to 0. Then x equals to what? -2. That's how we do it. So if the 2 was the positive 2 was the factor, I was gonna say what? X minus 2. If positive 1 was a factor, I was gonna say -1, x minus 1 is a factor. If -1 was a factor, I was gonna say +1, because of when you are equating it to 0, is gonna give you that certain value that you took, or that value that you chose at the end of the day, or that value that actually gave you 0 the time you were busy substituting here on your equation. Sometimes I can run by the speed of light. Please try to slow me down. If you think that, hey, Mr. James was really fast like the speed of light, share there in the comment and be like, hey, my guy, I know you're running fast there. So please, I know sometimes, okay, cool. Fine, Bafethu, x plus 1 is not a factor, but x plus 2. So this is how I'm going to show it to you, Bafethu. I'm going to show you like this. So I'm going to say x plus 2 is a factor. That is the first step. X plus 2 is a factor because when I took all of the values there, x minus 2, when x equals to -2, I saw that -2, when I plug it here, will give me 0. You see? So that is the reason why I say x plus 2 is a factor. Now, because of I was able to discover this, let's continue now and see what we can do. So I'm going to open the brackets and say x plus 2 into, then here I put plus bx. This is the second step. The first step is to find the factor. The second step is to find the value of b, which I'm going to show you guys. So now, check it out. So, we need to find these two values here. Now, the question is, how am I going to get those values? You're going to look at your expression. Ne? You're going to look at your expression here. So, I'm having x cubed is the same as this one. So, I'm going to say x cubed over x will give me what? x squared. Babanye, they will ask, how did you get x squared? But from the law of exponents. When you divide the exponents of the same base, you keep the base and you subtract the exponents. So the exponent of here of x is 1. Here it's 3. So what is 3 minus 1? It's 2. Do you see that? Okay, good. So I'm going to write what? X squared. Okay. Now what about the value here? I'm going to find the value that does not have the variable just like 2. So when I check here, I'm like, oh, I see 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to say 8 divided by what? By 2 is going to give me what? 4. Then I'm going to write plus 4. So now I got x squared and 4. Remember, we're still on the what? Second step, where we need to determine what? The value of b. You're going to see something crazy. Let me teach you something. A cubic function is made of a linear factors and quadratic factors. So meaning, a cubic function is like linear factors, linear quadratic factors. It's a linear already. It's a quadratic. And then those who are dealing with calculus, you will know that if I differentiate, if the first derivative of this will give me a quadratic, the second derivative will give me what? A linear. Don't say I didn't tell you. Let's go. Now, what do? We are going to what? Multiply. So you take the x, you multiply it by this one. You take this one, you multiply by this one. So what is x times that one? I'm going to have bx squared. Bx squared. And then 2 times that, I'm going to have 2x squared equals to. Now I need to find an expression. From the expression I need to find the one that has the x squared. Which one? Minus 2x squared has it. If it was in there, meaning it was like x cubed minus 4x plus 8, like this, we didn't have the x squared, you're going to say 0x squared because it's not there. Even here, even if it wasn't there, you're going to say 0 divided by 2 is going to give you 0, meaning we're not going to have the value here. I don't know. If you guys don't understand, I have a feed. Let's check out more videos. Check. Ne? Check. So now we have that one is minus 2x squared. Where did I take this one? From here is this one. You see, bx squared, x times this one, bx squared. 2 times this, 2x squared equals to negative 2x squared, which is this one. Now, what is the goal? The goal is to find the value of b. Allow me, Bafeto, to do this. Okay, I can just write this ones here, x plus 2. I said it's a factor. And then I can just show you x plus 2, x squared plus bx plus 4, so that I can have enough space. Okay? Now check. Here we find the common factor is going to be x squared into b plus 2 equals to negative 2. Equals to x squared into negative 2. Then look, this one goes with that one. It's x squared, sorry. So they cancel out these ones because I took the common factor here. So I'm going to be left with b plus 2 equals to minus 2. Then b equals to, when I take 2 to the other side, becomes what? Negative 4. b equals to minus 2 minus 2. That's how I got minus 4. Okay, guys? Let's move. Okay. So we're able to see that our b is negative 4. So I'm going to plug it here, Buffett. X plus 2, x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, remember this one. We did that one of it's x squared, it's bx squared plus 2x squared. We said equals to negative 2x squared. We found that the b was negative 4, right? Yeah, which is this one. Okay, then from there, what do? We're gonna say we know that this thing equals to 0, Bafetu. Let's not forget it equals to 0. That equals to 0. Then I'm gonna say x plus, remember from the law of mathematics, it says if a times b equals to 0, a will equals to 0 or my b will equals to 0. So this is my a and this whole bracket will be my b. I hope we are all together on that one. Okay, so let me show you my point. My point is that x plus 2 equals to 0 or x squared minus 4x